India Global.
India Global.
Hello and welcome. We host the leader of the world's oldest democracy next Monday. US President Barack Obama will be the chief guest at this year's Republic Day parade.
So let's visit the United States of America this week.
Music from a live concert recording of Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring performed at the Library of Congress Summer Chamber Festival.
The United States of America, located on the continent of North America, is the third largest country in the world in size. It is a federal republic comprising 50 states.
The executive is headed by the president elected directly for a 4-year term from either the Democratic or the Republican Party. 15 departments headed by secretaries form the cabinet.
The legislature or the Congress comprises the Senate and the House of Representatives.
The Supreme Court is the highest in a 3-tiered judiciary.
The Potomac River runs through Washington, D.C., the capital of the country.
Saida Garrett performing Man in the Mirror at the Coolidge Auditorium, Library of Congress, Washington, D.C.
Through 1775 and into 1776, Americans fought the War of Independence. The Declaration of Independence, adopted on the 4th of July 1776, is the document by which 13 British North American colonies proclaimed their independence from Great Britain.
The United States has a written constitution. It is a nation of immigrants and has a multi-ethnic society.
English is widely spoken, followed by Spanish.
Music from the Son of Chamber Symphony, composed and conducted by John Adams, performed by the International Contemporary Ensemble at the Coolidge Auditorium, Library of Congress, Washington, D.C.
As the two largest democracies in the world, India and the United States of America share a unique relationship.
India-US bilateral cooperation is multi-sectoral, covering trade and investment, defense and security, education, science and technology, civil nuclear energy, space, environment, agriculture, and health. There are nearly 40 bilateral dialogue mechanisms between the two governments.
The regular exchange of high-level political visits has provided sustained momentum to bilateral cooperation. Vibrant people-to-people interaction and support across the political spectrum in both countries have nurtured this relationship.
A truly strategic partnership is how Dr. S. Jaishankar, India's ambassador to the United States of America, describes ties between the two countries.
Our relationship with the United States is actually one of our most important foreign policy relationships. It really spans a very broad range of issues, and we have a growing cooperation in a number of areas. Areas which mean a lot to India in terms of its own domestic transformation, our security, our international standing. So I would really regard it as a truly strategic partnership.
Speaking on areas of potential cooperation, Envoy Jaishankar says,
we are at a stage where the impediments to cooperation have been largely removed. Now that we've moved into the positive domain, it is a question of infusing enough enthusiasm and energy into the relationship in making it worthwhile for the other party also to have gains from cooperation. And you can see that happening today in business, education, in energy, in culture, in defense, in a very wide range of areas.
Music from the live concert recording of Country Girl performed by the Carolina Chocolate Drops at the Coolidge Auditorium, Library of Congress.
Bilateral trade between India and the U.S. has grown steadily over the years. The U.S. is the sixth largest source of foreign direct investment into India, and Indian investments in the U.S. are a novel feature of bilateral ties now. A better economic environment, including ease of doing business in both countries, could see higher trade figures, says Ambassador Jaishankar.
Our trade in goods today is in excess of $60 billion, and our trade in services as well. What has been striking, the volume of trade has really multiplied at a time when the world economy has been going through difficulties. In a much more positive scenario, we could have probably hit even higher numbers. We are today exploring new avenues, new opportunities, new ways of doing business. I think if in India we make it easier to do business, you will see American businesses respond to that. At the US end, we have occasionally challenges of constraints, sometimes protectionist sentiments which come. It's important that should not take root. The trade in services is the basis for a much larger human resource cooperation between our two countries.
India-US economic ties can be viewed on a much wider canvas, says Ambassador Jaishankar.
There are a lot of other areas which feed into economic and trade ties, areas like aviation, even education. So I think if we have a larger scene on which we envisage this cooperation and then strive to make our end much more energetic and much friendlier, my sense is you will see its impact very, very soon.
हर घड़ी बदल रही है रूप जिंदगी छाँव है कभी कभी है धूप जिंदगी.
Music from the Hindi blockbuster Kal Ho Na Ho, one of so many Bollywood movies shot in the United States.
जो है समा कल हो न हो.
Vivek Murthy,
Sri Srinivasan,
Nikki Haley,
Bobby Jindal,
Pichai Sundar Rajan, Satya Nadella,
Indra Nooyi,
late Kalpana Chawla,
Jhumpa Lahiri.
Night Shyamalan. The list of prominent Indian Americans is long.
The Indian American community is the third largest Asian and an important ethnic group in the United States.
A majority are employed mostly in management and professional occupations and are also the best paid Asian ethnic group.
The Indian American community in the United States has played a transformative role in Indo-US bilateral relations, says Ambassador Jaishankar.
There are 3.25 million Indian Americans and probably more than 1 million Indians residing in America in addition. They have played a very important role in bringing the two societies together. More important, they've actually helped to shape the image of India in the eyes of the average American. So when today an American thinks of India, it's actually that imagery of a doctor, of a professional, of a techie, of hardworking, thrifty people with a strong work ethic, family-oriented, people who have a sense of faith, who in that sense share values which are very similar to the American people. That's been a very important part of the transformation of the relations between the two countries. We can build on that. A lot of our energies today are devoted to doing that.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States in September last year had a profound impact on bilateral ties, says Ambassador Jaishankar.
Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States really re-energized the relationship. We had been going through a somewhat difficult patch for a variety of reasons. He brought to the US a message of a different India, India that is much more purposeful, determined, much more serious, willing to take steps that would make it more attractive and credible partner with a strong sense of follow-through on what he was saying. His image, his record, his presentation, articulation in the US really had a very profound impact, I believe, on the relationship.
US President Barack Obama's upcoming visit to India is not just high on symbolism, but raises bilateral ties to a higher level, signaling the start of a new era in the India-US relationship, says Ambassador Jaishankar.
We must appreciate that this is the first time that an American president is actually visiting as chief guest for the Republic Day. It's also the first time we've invited an American president to do so. That symbolism, both the invitation and the acceptance of the invitation, that's very important. I think it actually takes the relationship to a different level because it's a very public acceptance of the fact today that the earlier era is now behind us, that we have a very strong common interests, convergences, a sense of bonding, that there are a lot of things that the two countries can do together, and that we are willing to signal that very publicly to our peoples. So I cannot overstate the importance of the presence of President Obama on January 26th in India, and I'm really very confident that this will mark a new era in our ties.
To quote India's ambassador to the United States of America, Dr. S. Jaishankar, the world the two nations seek does look similar in the big picture, with greater prosperity, more freedom, market economics, rule-based regimes and pluralistic societies. That wraps up our visit to the United States of America. But before we go, here's a question for you.
US firms will be lead partners in developing 3 Indian cities as smart cities. Can you name these cities?
Send in your answers to indiajourneys360@gmail.com. To mark 1 year since the launch of this program, the first 3 winners will get special prizes from the Ministry of External Affairs and All India Radio.
Congratulations Rajini Kumar Patnaik from Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh and B. Dinesh Aditya from Hyderabad in Telangana for sending in the right answer to a question on Austria.
India's Controller and Auditor General is currently the external auditor for the International Atomic Energy Agency, headquartered in Vienna.
Until next time then, goodbye.
And travel safe.